This is the very beginning, the rig. I optimize it so that I can import into Desmos. I talk about that in the graph. It's non-hierarchical. It doesn't use connected joints. And these are each of those models exported as OBJ files. That right there, that's the chest. Then this one's going to be the milk. Each of these are imported into Desmos as their own object. And the way I do that is using this script. This is actually a portion of the script. There's much more. But when all that's said and done, you can import a joint. That is the first joint I imported. That's the chest with their own wacky colors. And here are two joints. This showed me that the buffer was working because, look, they're including each other. That's the head and the chest both together in one render. This is the animation going wrong. Rotation formulas are so easy to screw up, and I loved how that looked, but then I fixed it in this shot. So that's actually how the test should look like in Desmos. And yeah, we have the colors of each of the surfaces, and we have a basic light source that it responds to light, just like Desmos bar. That's me practicing warping in early stages, so that's not exactly what made it to the final cut. And this is what happens when things go wrong. I just love how hilarious this looks. He's holding a booze bottle. I got rid of that in the final one. Now it's time for me to location scout. So as per tradition, I go into GTA 5 to find a good location to use. And I liked this a lot. This is a deleted location called the Bahamas Mamas, I think. But yeah, this was just, I loved that. I modeled a derivative of it in Blender. One that would work in Desmos. I didn't want to copy it for exact, but the couches are taken, and this is exactly what you see in the final Desmos animation. This is what I use as my reference. So now, with that said, it's time to import the background. So I have all those. I just scroll through each texture that was scanned exactly from Blender. Every surface is rendered in Blender and then polytomized with that tool. And then I process that in Illustrator and delete polygons that I don't need, ones that won't be seen in the camera, because I have a strict budget of 10,000. And then I use a Python script to import that. So that's what I'm doing right here. I get the numbers right and it puts in global space. So as a result, you get that background, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of finicking to get that right. And that's just a cool animation. So that's where we stand. There's depth of field. Loved how cool that looked. And this is me practicing warping another time in this stage. First animation, that's him interacting with the environment and he falls. So that's kind of what I wanted to do from its infancy. And now it's time for the billboard. So that purple one was a proof of concept. That was my reference GTA. And this over here is me playing around, seeing what works, what doesn't work. This was super fun just to make a cool pattern. This was just abstract. This was whatever I wanted to be, and I'm so happy with the final result. Depth of field. You don't get to see it this hard in the final one, but I wanted to go crazy with the depth of field, and that was an experiment of it right there. Oh, this guy. Yep, that's my animation reference. So first animation test is right there. I use me in the top left. Time to make the face. So these are just a bunch of doodles. My sister made that one and this one and that one. We opted with the final one. I modeled it in Blender using a custom rig, just exclusively made out of Bezier curves. And this was super duper easy to animate. Just a total blessing. Here's the geometry node setup in order to pull this off. All of those allows me to control it with 3 individual points that can be exported as a BVH file. So I needed that custom node setup and now can go into Desmos. This is it in Desmos. It's upside down. I fixed it in the final one. But yeah, it has a slider to control which keyframe it is. That's an example of a Bezier curve, which I use for each element. And this is where we stand. So this is it with the face on. It's a more laggy animation, but he is exhibiting facial expressions. And now it's time to narrow down the lighting. I tried depth of field here. I scrapped that with the character because that became way too laggy. And these are 2 different lighting setups. The top one was a different setup that I abandoned because it was too red. This is the top one. This is the middle one. And then I add a rim light. I'm like, okay, this is the one. And yeah, this is what the first shot looked like at that point. And this is the final one. I loved this one so much. This is what made it in the final animation. The depth of field is subtle, and he has the rim light, and it looks good. But here, there's a difference. Can you spot it? The warpiness starts earlier, and it's way more pronounced. This is it without the warpiness. Just as a reference, it looks super duper high comprehensible, but this is with the warpiness, and this was dizzying me, the shot you're seeing right here. So I cut down on the warpiness as time went on in the animation. The milk was more sporadic there, but that's nothing. Anyways, here, final thing. Top right is Blender. Bottom left is Desmos, and these are the final results, I guess. So bottom left, way more cartoony, way more stylistic, and the top right is just bare bones. It's just the reference I used. But you can see the similarities. There are tons of similarities between these. And yeah, camera does a little zoom there, and the Milton Spill blender. Yeah, that is it. So I hope you enjoyed this comparison, and hopefully you found it interesting.